As a kid, I had a reputation at restaurants for grabbing one of those foil-wrapped butter packets, opening it like a present and eating it straight in 2 bites. My parents did not love this behavior, but I sure did. I mean, what's better than butter? If you agree with me, perhaps you've partaken in a butter packet or 2 in your day. Well, this one is for you, because today we're gonna talk about one of the greatest and least known butter preparations. This one might just change your life. If it feels like butter sits in its own special category outside of other fats like olive oil and lard, that's because it does, at least structurally. Unlike those pure fats, butter is a creamy emulsion. But where an emulsion like heavy cream is composed of water interspersed with droplets of milk fat, butter flips the equation. It's mostly milk fat interspersed with a little bit of water. Milk fat is savory and sweet, and its unique composition gives butter spreadability over a wide temperature range and an unmatched silky melt on the tongue. Butter can play a starring role on a slice of crusty bread or effortlessly slip into the background of a dish or sauce and add a rich backbone. Butter is amazing, but melted butter? It's a little bit less amazing. Now, before you launch a half-eaten packet of butter at the screen, please allow me to explain. When you melt butter, you break the emulsion and you separate liquid milk fat from water and some milk solids. Once liquefied, the milk fat has the oily texture of, well, pretty much all liquid oils. Instead of being creamy, it's slick. I'm not saying all melted butter is bad, mind you. If you're melting butter to then brown it, by all means, melt away. And if you're melting butter so that you can clarify it and use it for sauteing and searing, please don't let me stop you. But if you're melting it because you want to dip things like lobster or artichoke or other lovely spring vegetables in it, or drizzle it on grilled meats and veggies, or just use it as a versatile sauce, there's a much better way. And that way is beurre monté. Now, if you are French or you've studied French food or worked in a French restaurant, you are familiar. If not, chances are you've never heard about this fundamental sauce preparation. It's little more than cold butter whisked into a small amount of simmering water. But that small act produces something special. It breaks butter's emulsion, but at the same moment rebuilds it as a new emulsion. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to make it in a second. It's not that gritty. But first, I want to talk about how it's possible in the first place. And for that, we need to look at what I call the life cycle of milk fat. We start out with milk, which is an emulsion of milk fat and water. It contains about 4% milk fat. That fat can be homogenized into the milk to create the whole milk you buy at the store, or it can be removed along with some water as cream. In the old days, that was done through weighting. The lower density fat would naturally rise to the surface of the milk, where it could be removed. But nowadays, it is done much more quickly with the help of centrifuges. Cream is also an emulsion, though a much richer one, clocking in at around 38% fat. If we take chilled cream, in which the fat is solid, and beat it long enough, the milk fat globules are slammed against one another until they stick. They form butter, yet another emulsion. Loads of water is removed during churning in the form of buttermilk, and that's why butter ends up at about 80% fat. Now from here, let's explore 2 very different timelines. In one timeline, you simply melt the butter and break the emulsion like this. You can see the pure milk fat separated from the small amount of water and milk solids. In this timeline, you are left pretty sad. In the other timeline, you make beurre monté, and you are happy. Let's go to the kitchen and be happy. We are working with the magic ratio of 3 tablespoons of water and 8 tablespoons of butter. That would be 45 grams of water and 113 grams of butter. I'll bring the water to a simmer in a small saucepan over medium-high heat and then reduce it down to a gentle simmer. I add 1 piece of butter and whisk constantly until it is incorporated, which takes about 30 seconds. As the butter melts, the emulsion is inverting, with liquid fat droplets being broken up and distributed throughout the water. Adding the butter slowly allows our whisk to effectively break up the fat droplets. Then I just repeat with the rest of the butter, 1 piece at a time until fully incorporated and the sauce is velvety. In total, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes. You can then season it with salt to taste or a whole host of other flavors, as I'll show you in a minute. Look at this glossy, dare I say sexy, pot of gold. Why is beurre monté so much better than melted butter? Check out this experiment. I have 2 chunks of lobster meat, and I'll dip one in melted butter and the other in our magic butter sauce. Just look at the difference in cling. The melted butter forms a thin, shiny, greasy coating that drips off, whereas the beurre monté clings and holds on. Okay, so lobster and butter is gonna be great no matter what, but the beurre monté sample feels elevated and balanced and honestly so much better. I grew up in New England, and I'll be honest, I messed up. I should have been dipping it in this magic butter sauce the whole time. If we look back at the milk fat life cycle, we see that we've accomplished something really interesting. Our cream was a fat in water emulsion, tiny droplets of fat swimming in a body of water. Our butter was just the opposite, a water and fat emulsion with droplets of water surrounded by fat. And our beurre monté, it's back to being a fat and water emulsion. But it's not exactly cream. In fact, beurre monté comes in around 58 to 60% fat, halfway between cream and butter. It clings better than cream, but adds rich flavor like butter. You know what? I've got just the analogy. High school reunion. No, seriously, stick with me. Let's say that you went to high school with heavy cream. Heavy cream was the life of the party, making everything a little more fun, indulgent, and special. You are best buds and you promise to never lose touch. But you go to college, you make new friends, you drift apart. It happens to all of us, right? Next thing you know, 10 years have passed and it's time for your reunion. You're looking forward to seeing cream again, reconnecting. You head to the open bar and look who it is, it's Cream, but somehow different. He's not exactly like how you remember. For one thing, he's now fluent in French. That's impressive. He prefers that you call him by his French name. That's a little weird. But you don't judge because it's clear he's been through some stuff. Big life changes, like maybe falling in love, losing the house, or I don't know, getting violently churned into butter. But when you look past the stuff that's different, you can see that he's got the same DNA. He's still the same guy. He's still a creamy milk, fat, and water emulsion. Still adds so much to whatever he gets involved in. Still the life of the party. But because of everything he's been through, he's actually even better than the old cream. Rich, buttery flavor, really clingy, but like in a good way. And with the ability to morph into countless sauces, both sweet and savory. Here's what I'm talking about. We can stay in the Frenchy realm and simply stir in some stone ground mustard for a sauce that balances rich, buttery flavor with some sharp pungency. This is literally a 4-ingredient sauce, and I'm counting water and salt, and yet it adds intense complexity. I love this one on some pan-roasted asparagus. For something completely different, after we make our beurre monté, I simply whisk in gochujang, lime juice, and sugar, and season with salt to taste. This sauce, which combines heat, umami, and bright acidity, is made for pork. I like to pan-sear a leaner cut like, say, pork tenderloin, and then gild it with this incredible sauce. For seafood, like some gorgeous seared scallops, I'm all about this version with orange zest and juice and a little oyster sauce. And finally, don't forget that butter is great on sweet things too. Make plain beurre monté and serve alongside a bottle of maple syrup with pancakes. That is how you win brunch. Or season up with apricot preserves, peach schnapps, and lemon juice, and then drizzle it all over a messy pile of crepes. This sauce really is magic. But the best part of all, make and serve any one of these sauces, and you get to indulge in butter and impress your guests without a single person yelling at you for eating all the butter packets. And you can't put a price on that. And that's why this is, without hesitation, how to eat magic butter sauce. Huge thanks to my esteemed colleague Lon Lamb for these inventive and tasty recipes, and to butter science whiz Paul Adams for his insight and humor. Grab all these recipes at the link below or at cooksillustrated.com/what'seatingdan. There you'll find every recipe from every episode of the show. Hit like, subscribe, and then please head to the comments. Tell me about your butter eating. Who else ate/still eats those butter packets? Anyone eating a whole stick? I want the weird stories, folks. All right, thanks a lot, and see you next time.